episode. I'm Dani Walker. Thank you so much for joining me for the Miss Universe 2022 preliminary swim recap. If you're brand new to the channel and if you like content like this, please consider subscribing and hitting that notifications bell. And if you want to support the channel, hit that super thanks button, shop in the merch store, or just share this episode with a friend. I greatly appreciate it. And don't forget, if you're a pageant contestant preparing for your next competition, check out the free pageant prep course that is linked in the description. If you want to see even more exclusive content from the Miss Universe 2022 competition that I created with VIP Pageantry, then head over to VIPpageantry.com and download their app. Before we talk about all of my swim favorites, I just have to say that these ladies this year really brought it. I don't know what motivated everyone, what was in the water this year, and why did everybody decide to step up their game, but they did it. But here's what I'm going to do for this episode that's a little bit different. As far as we know, there's a top 16 this year, but I am going to share a top 14 for swim, and then at the end, I will be sharing some other favorites that I have that are on, we could say, my close calls. They were like right on the edge for me, and I think that their placement would depend on interview and their gown score combined. So the ones that I mentioned in the end in my hypothetical semifinalists are fighting for those last two spots. Shout out to VIP Pageantry, VIP TV for making it possible for me to sit front row at Miss Universe prelims. Honestly, it was so unexpected and I didn't even know it was happening until we walked into the venue. So huge thank you. And if you want to see the other exclusive content that we've been creating throughout Miss Universe week, then be sure to download the VIP Pageantry app. Here they are in no particular order. Dominican Republic. Oh my gosh, I had not talked about her as much leading up to prelims, but she has really been showing up and showing out. The last time Dominican Republic placed was in 2020. They were 4th runner-up, and there are notoriously stunning women that represent Dominican Republic at Miss Universe, and she is no exception. I loved this performance. I really loved that after she showed off her cape that she did this little flip turn. The execution was perfection right there. I do wish, though, at the very end that she had a little bit more dedicated eye contact with the camera. Colombia, oh my goodness. I just want to say that when she stepped out for the opening introductions, that she truly had what I refer to as this Miss Universe glow. And what I'm talking about is literally her skin. Her skin was glowing, and it's really interesting because this is a common denominator that I saw with Demi Lee, with Catriona. I feel like those are the two in recent years that it really stuck out to me when I saw them up close and in person. I saw Catriona walk in the Sherry Hill fashion show before she won her Miss Universe title, and when I saw her, I was like, oh, I see it. I see it, because she was literally just glowing. And then she obviously brought that glow to the Miss Universe stage, but that is literally what I noticed about Colombia, on top of an incredible performance. Germany is someone who did capture my attention leading up to prelims, and she's someone that I've been reading about in the comments. I've seen some of those Germany comments, and I have looked at her a little bit, but oh my gosh, does she get my attention at prelims, and she is definitely making this list. I personally loved her. She also reminds me a lot of Miss Universe Ireland 2010. I don't know if you kind of got that vibe too, but she does give that to me a little bit. But this was so great. I love how solid this performance is, and I also just want to just give out a shout out to Germany this year, because remember, Miss Germany also won Miss International this year. So look at them coming back in the international pageant world. I love that. Other side note that I want to quickly mention, I've talked about this in other episodes when I shared about Miss USA rehearsals and behind the scenes, and there is a guy at the end of the runway, at the end of that stage, and he has white gloves on. Why? Because it's dark in the venues, and he is telling you when and where to go at all times. And when people complain about pageants like Miss Universe and they say, well, that contestant didn't get a good camera angle, or they didn't capture her at the right time, usually that is not the cameraman's fault, because these shows are timed down to the second for telecasts. And that man at the end of the staging in the runway that I'm showing you right here in this clip, he is responsible for making sure things run right down to the second, and that is happening, and we see that happen at rehearsals. So the contestants are aware of this, well, I guess if they're paying attention, and I just wanted to actually show you what this looks like. If you have a dream of competing at Miss USA or at Miss Universe, you need to be very, very aware of this man. He is your friend. He is not being mean and telling you to just get off the stage. He is guiding you so that the cameras can get the very best shots of you. So you don't want to think that you know best and stand in a specific spot for longer than that man tells you to, because the camera will already have moved because of the timing of the show. Jamaica has had so many features on this channel. Let me point out something very specific and special about this performance. When some contestants initially enter the stage from the backstage area, it takes them a second or two to find the camera, to warm up, to have an engaging facial expression. Not Jamaica. Jamaica was engaged from the time that you saw her. Her eyes, her face was engaged with that camera, with that audience, and most importantly, with the judges. Oh my gosh, like this performance, a performance like this gives me chills, and this right here is just showing you how competitive this year is. Vietnam, getting better and better as a country every single year, and also just delivering consistent performances. I'm gonna say it now, and I've said it again, and in many other episodes I've mentioned this, but I'm a fan. I'm just a fan of Vietnam. I'm really rooting for them because of just the effort and the preparation that they're putting into their queens. I just really feel like watching that year after year, it just deserves to be recognized with a placement. Mexico has grown so much from her national competition. I'm very excited to see this. I did not feature her as much leading up to prelims, but that was because I hadn't seen updates on her walk, and that was one of the things that concerned me, because when I watched her walk at her national competition, it was so fast-paced and it just felt a little more grand international to me, and I just didn't know if those changes were being made. But let me just say, she brought such great energy, and you can feel it in the room. And also, I don't think it hurts when you have a lot of people in the audience cheering for you, and you really you feel that love when you're on stage, and that's extra special. But she was just glowing. Curaçao really did it. So it's interesting, if you don't know, she competed in a very small national pageant. There were only 3 contestants, and she was one of them. So that's really rare to see a contestant who is coming from a pageant that many would say is not as competitive, just because there's not as many contestants, okay? But when we look at her, you just can't deny how great her performance was here at prelims, and I love seeing that. For all of those who hadn't noticed her up until this point, you can see how she is a clear standout here, and I'm so excited because it's really undeniable, I think, when you watch her compete. And the other thing is, I was a little bit worried about her styling when we were talking about her going from nationals to internationals. Her team this year, I gotta say, just did everything right in my opinion. They changed her look for Miss Universe in terms of her hair and her makeup styling, and she just looks so wonderfully just fresh and ready for that Miss Universe stage, and I love it. So this was such a great example if you want to go back and check out her national pageant to see what I mean and how different she looked there versus here. Well done. Venezuela, I have been loving her more and more leading up to the competition. I am not surprised with this performance at all, just because of what she's really been bringing to the competition. I absolutely loved it. I also really love that I'm feeling like this classic Venezuelan performance. She's true to that, but she's also really bringing this like current confidence, and she really just freshened things up. The hair, the makeup is beautiful, it's natural, it translated very well on camera. I'm loving her. Oh, the other thing that I forgot to mention, a couple things. The swimsuits I thought were lovely. It reminded me of 2018 again. Bright, solid colors, complementary cuts. They were very diverse, and they weren't distracting from the contestants. I feel like there was such a wide variety. Loved it. But the capes, oh my gosh. And I mentioned this because I was wondering, can the contestants get help from people to design these? And yes, they can. They did mention that during the show. So I loved it. And I just felt like it was this extra fun part of swim, because every single contestant would come out and you're waiting, you're anticipating that moment. Like, what is her cape gonna have on it? And there were so many wonderful designs and so many things that were very significant to each contestant, and the causes that they hold near and dear to their heart, or just things that are significant about their country, and I loved it. South Africa, what can I say? Just all of it. I have no complaints with South Africa. I was wondering about her walk because I thought that it could be improved from her national competition, because they don't walk as much at that national competition on stage. So we only get a small sampling of it, but she did it here, friends. She did it. She glowed. She was stunning. And I have high hopes. Peru. She is like this year's Victoria's Secret model. It's the hair, friends. It's the hair, it's the height, it's just all of it. She's stunning, and she has just been one of my favorites leading up to the competition. She didn't disappoint me, but for finals, I would really encourage her to have a little bit more eye contact with the cameras, especially for finals. Remember, the judges have a screen in front of them, so even if a contestant is not looking at a specific judge directly, if the camera is right on their face and they're really connecting with that camera, the judges can also see and potentially feel that from that gaze. Thailand, I featured her in my Best Walks episode. You can check it out. I'll link it in the corner up here. But oh my gosh, I am neither surprised or disappointed with this performance. She really brought it. There were a lot of fans from Thailand in the audience, and you can just see how present she was and how she was living in the moment. Not only was the performance great, but she just truly looked like she was enjoying herself. And let me tell you, that wins some big points with judges. USA, I am so proud right now because I created an episode all about how I would strategize, how I think that USA can win Universe. And whether we're talking Albany or whether we're talking about contestants in the near future, these were my ideas. But one of the things that I mentioned in that episode was that I really wanted to see her relax her shoulder movement because it was coming across more as a Miss Grand International swim walk. And she made that adjustment. Also, she tagged me when she watched that video with her friends and family. She posted that on her Instagram story. So I know that she actually got that note from the video, and we were DMing a little bit. So I love that she made that adjustment. I'm really excited for her. Now I have another adjustment, right? Where we can always do better, every single one of us. I just want to see her relax her hands a little bit more. Just when I judge, whenever we have any tension in the hands, it draws the eye contact down to the hand and away from the face. And we want the attention always to be drawn up. So now I'm like, okay, we really relax the shoulders. Let's just keep the hands relaxed for finals. But this performance though, oh my gosh, like this. She's showing everybody why she won Miss USA this year. That's what I'm saying. And by the way, the phrase on the back of her cape, if not now, then when, is the quote that she always shares on Instagram. So that was very personal to her. Just want to add that in. I think the Philippines nailed swim. She is always cool, calm, and relaxed. Arguably has one of the best walks this year out of all the contestants. This is exactly what I expected from her. I love it. I just don't think she was overshooting anything. She was beautiful on stage. And if you watch the channel, you know I'm a big fan of Philippines this year. So well done, Philippines. Puerto Rico. Oh my gosh. First, I just have to say, when she walked in the room for swim, the room shifted and people's excitement just shifted, and you could feel that she is capturing everyone's attention. And that right there, friends, is a Miss Universe quality. And this performance was top notch. And I even liked her little hair flip. It was subtle at the beginning. I don't think that it was too much here. I loved it, but it just, quality of the walk, the transitions, the facials, just all of it. Love. Absolutely love. And I can't wait to see her at finals. Now that I've shared my top 14, I'm going to quickly mention the ladies that were really close, that were on my edge, that I noticed that I also think have fantastic performances. Angola, Aruba, Bolivia, Cambodia barely missed my top 14 in this episode. So close. Ecuador, France, Great Britain, India. Right, just right there for me. Mauritius, Nepal was a fantastic surprise. Nicaragua, Panama, Portugal, Trinidad and Tobago, and Ukraine. That's all I have for you for this episode. Those are the ladies that really stood out to me. I really appreciate you for clicking on this episode, and I honestly cannot wait for finals. I think it's going to be a fantastic show, but I think it's going to be very, very competitive. So in the meantime, if you want to see more Miss Universe episodes, check out these ones that are linked up in the corner. Until then, I'll see you soon, and I'm looking forward to creating even more Miss Universe content for you.